From the heart of Kansas City, we bring you Buk and Bob Take on Chiefs Kingdom, a podcast for fans by fans. This is not your normal podcast where we give you all the stats and boring yada, yada, yada. This is two fans talking about the game just like you're with your friend at the bar, having a good time, shooting the shit back and forth.
Yeah, I'm Buck, and I'm ready to watch a game that I'm not sweating it out at the end of the fourth quarter.
And I'm Bob, the master of bad takes and the knack for pissing people off. How about those Chiefs?
How about those Chiefs?
How about them?
Another close win. At least it wasn't down to the final play.
Oh, yeah. Can we just get...
Wait, before we start, can we just get this out of the way? I really hated that we didn't have Taylor Swift or Tony Romo for this game. I really want one of the two.
I mean,
I think we could have easily lost because we didn't have either one of those good luck charms.
I mean, we did have. Oh gosh, his son is doing stuff now too.
Chris Collinsworth.
Chris Collinsworth, thank you. One of my favorites on Inside the NFL. Forever. We did have Chris, so it wasn't horrible. I want Brady for one. I really want Brady, but I would be happy if I just had Romo every time. And yeah, no Swift sightings, no Swifties. Yeah, that was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I know. We had to watch football for an entire 3 hours.
I know. It was crazy. But okay, so one of my first thoughts at the start of the game was in the national anthem. I mean, this is an away game at the Falcons' fancy Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Beautiful stadium.
Oh
beautiful.
My God.
I can't wait to have a new stadium. But we're there, and all you hear at the end is and the home of the Chiefs. And it was just, I mean, it was great. And you look at all the jerseys out there, and Collinsworth was saying, yeah, it's all red, but it was all Chiefs red.
There were a lot of Chiefs flags hanging from the stands.
I almost wonder if it was more Chiefs fans than Falcons fans.
No. There's
you don't think so?
No.
I mean, every call that went for the Falcons, I heard the boos overwhelmingly.
It did sound like our crowd. It really did.
Yeah.
Like during the game, there were some times that I'm like, boo. Wait, that was a play for us. Like, why are you, or that was a play against us. Why are you booing?
Yeah. And I didn't even see our offense struggle once because of crowd noise.
No.
I mean, this is something that you get only if you're the Chiefs. So we're having as much success as the Patriots in their heyday, but the Patriots cheated multiple times. They did all kinds of shenanigans. Bill was never likable. Tom was definitely likable, but Bill was never likable. I mean, they were a very unlikable team. Their owner was never somebody that you looked up to and aspired to, thinking that they're a great person. But the Chiefs organization is full of Midwesterners that are just salt of the earth, good people. And it's growing across the nation. People who were never Chiefs fans are becoming Chiefs fans, and our small market team is becoming a big market team. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like the Patriots. It was almost like it was a military outfit. Everything was very vanilla. Everything was, everybody had to have short hair. I know that wasn't the rule, but it almost felt like everything was very structured. And if things went wrong,
yep, definitely.
Brady would throw a fit at his line. And it's a completely different feel with the Chiefs, man. Everybody loves everybody. Everybody's supportive. Nobody's pointing fingers when a missed tackle happens. I mean,
at the end of games, nobody complains about the refs, although we'll get into the refs.
We'll complain about the refs.
Yeah, we'll get into the refs later on.
I hate complaining about the refs, but we're going to do it.
Yeah, today was one of the worst I've ever seen. Well, not ever seen, but the worst I've seen this season for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But everybody is humble. They give props to the other teams. I love that instead of, being asinine, like Jamari Chase, where he's
yeah, the Rashee Rice interview at the end of the game, after the game, she's like, what was the key to your success? He's like, that man right there. She's like, what was the thing that changed everything? He's like, I just do what that man tells me. If he needs me to go over here, that's where I'm at, because that's how we win. And and Mahomes fits that, fits that keyhole just perfectly, man. That's it. The whole team works together like a beautiful puzzle, and when they mesh, it's amazing. Now they haven't been meshing all the way because there's a lot of room for improvement. I think we're gonna talk about that a lot too. But one of the
but hold on, while you're on Rice, how cool is it to see Rice? We talked about it when he got in his off the field troubles this last off season. We talked about how he seems like an immature, young kid, and his interviews, the way he's acted on and off the field since then we have to give him props and have to give him the benefit of the doubt that it looks like he's learning his lesson, and that's a good sign.
It is a good sign, but you never hear about it until after it happens. So you never know. I do agree. I think that they were able to get through to him and tell him, look, like, you're going to squander a magical opportunity if you keep going down this road. He's already going to serve a suspension. I think we believe it's probably going to be about 8 games or so, and it'll probably be the first 8 games of next season is my guess. But he's so young that he can serve that suspension and then put it in his past and then become one of the stars of the league if he's not already by then. He is looking very star-like, though.
I feel like he's one of the stars. I feel like he's one of the stars today.
He put this team on his shoulders. For all 3 games.
All last year he was the bright spot in a bad receiving core. This year he's been on point. Today, targeted 14 times, brought in 12 of them for 110 yards, 9.2 average, and 1 TD. That's superstar.
Yeah, he's
right there. That's basically what the Cowboys. What's his name? The Cowboys' amazing wideout does.
CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. That's CeeDee Lamb type of stats.
He has become to Patrick Mahomes what Travis Kelce was. He's the guy that he finds. He's the guy that he's comfortable with throwing it to. I think that's become pretty evident over the last 3 games. Kelce's been targeted a few times, but even when he does catch it, it's very vanilla. There's not a lot of breaking tackles anymore, which is sad to see. It really is, man, because if he's not the greatest, he's one of the top 3 greatest, but I think he's the greatest. I really do. I love Tony Gonzalez, but I think he's better than Tony Gonzalez, and I think Tony's number 2, honestly, all time.
Yeah, Kelsey's always weird for me because he's never looked athletic. If you look at Tony versus him, Tony looked way more athletic. Kelsey's always looked a little clunky, but the proof's in the pudding. He gets it done, but it is a little weird that Kelsey's just not getting. He did get 4 receptions today for 30 yards. One was really good, one-on-one. He, got it. He was still covered, but he caught it. But it is weird because, let's kind of talk about the first quarter. But Mahomes isn't looking at Kelsey. And
no, he's looking at Rice.
Yeah, he's looking at Rice. And it's weird because what Mahomes has always done really well is look at the entire field. Mm-hmm. And if I look at the first quarter, we had a 17-play drive in the first quarter on our first possession. And then Mahomes throws this weird pick in the end zone. And I'm looking at him when he threw the pick, and he was staring down his receiver, and that's what a rookie quarterback does, not what Mahomes does. And he definitely will talk about it. He definitely picked his game up as the game went on, but geez Louise, I don't understand why he's been staring down receivers so hard when he was like the master of no-look passes.
Yeah.
He did
even
all
in the
these amazing
preseason behind the
things.
back pass.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got the ability, the physical ability. I almost feel like he's vanilla. He's vanillaing his throws too much to the point where he's scared of getting picked off of making these crazy throws, and so he throws something a little less difficulty level, but then he takes some off it and it gets picked off. I don't think there's any way he didn't see that defender. Like last week he had that interception by the linebacker that he just didn't see. It's not that he didn't see him, he just underthrew his receiver. If he throws that 24 inches higher, I think that we get the touchdown there.
Well, and then also he threw a long bomb to Worthy in the end zone, and unlike last week, Worthy knocked it down because he was super covered. But I don't know. I don't think it's all on Mahomes this week, because we saw Worthy screw up on a couple different plays where it looked like he was supposed to keep going.
Yeah.
And he just kind of gave up on the play, and that's a bad sign. But I think the one in the end zone should have been thrown a little bit more right, and Worthy should have used the speed to get up there and get it. I'm still seeing his speed. I am starting to see that it's track speed. Not.
Well, it may get there, right? I know what you're saying. He's got, from point A to point B, he can get there super fast. But when he's got to take a different path to get from A to B, he's got trouble doing that. I think that's something he can learn.
Tyreek Hill has that, and that's I'm hoping for from him. Tyreek could stop at a dime and speed up and slow down. He needs to learn to kind of trick defenders into thinking he's not going to run fast, and then as soon as the ball is thrown, accelerate into it and get away. And Mahomes is going to have to lead him better for that. Like, Mahomes' accuracy has been up for question.
Yeah.
This entire season so far through 3 games.
Well, that play that you were referring to with Worthy was the one that it looked like Mahomes just kind of missed through it and threw it into the ground. And when we looked at the replay, Worthy had
long bomb to the end zone.
Well, yeah, but you had also mentioned, there was one that it looked like he hadn't finished his route.
Short one,
right? When you look at the replay, you can tell that Worthy just didn't run his route, and that is I believe that's just a direct symptom of Worthy not having the time with Mahomes yet. I mean, it's only been 2 months training camp started and season, maybe less than 2 months. So I think we just got to be a little more patient with Worthy. Now, him having the track speed versus the stop on a dime speed and being able to pick up, that's definitely something he'll need to learn, because you couldn't be more right about that. But when he gets going, if Mahomes can find him deep open, it's going to be a scary thing for defenses.
Yeah. I would agree. I think, we watched the preseason and we watched them play against backups, and I think we might have gotten ourselves overly excited for rookies. And it's kind of a learning lesson for us in this first year of our podcast. Playing against backups is very different from playing against the real team.
But I would say we got as equally excited about Carson Steele, and I would say he hasn't disappointed. I mean, he wasn't stellar, but I didn't expect him to be stellar. I expect him to be solid, and he was definitely solid.
Oh, he was for a rookie in his first start, he had to be super nervous, but he still went 17 attempts for 72 yards, a 4.2 yard average. bummed that he didn't get his TD when they were up at the goal line, but when they pushed it through the middle on that third down, they should have busted it out to the outside. They got a little too, I mean, they were expecting him to go right through the gut, and it should have just been a pitch to the outside. It would have been an easy walk-in Priest Holmes TD. He could have put the ball back like Priest used to.
Yeah.
So
I still have my Priest Holmes jersey.
do you? I'm wearing my Eric Berry jersey in honor of him being on the ballot for Hall of Fame. So I'm pretty excited.
Well, I
about
don't
that.
fit in my Priest Holmes jersey anymore.
Oh no!
So my son wears it. Well, my son wears it if he'll wear a jersey. If they make the Super Bowl, he'll wear it while he's playing video games in his room, but he won't watch the game.
That's so sad.
I know.
If only he was a Taylor Swift fan.
My daughter is. My 4-year-old loves her some Taylor Swift, so she's a big Travis Kelce fan.
I'm sure. Well, yeah. So Steele, what I love about what I see with Steele is for a rookie, he's got some amazing patience where he waits to see the hole open up. We saw a lot of good 9 to 10 yard runs from him and a lot of good third and short runs where he just busted through and just got the first down.
And the game doesn't seem too fast for him. You know, like it does with a lot of rookies. It kind of takes him a little bit of time to warm up and get comfortable. He seems comfortable back there, being like you said. He was nervous going into his first start, but he performed well. I think he's got better in him too.
Oh yeah, honestly. I think he's got a lot. You said you had a theory that he would be cutting his hair.
Yeah, I don't know why, man. It's just a feeling. I feel like, we're gonna get a full season of Carson Steele with his long, beautiful Goldie locks, and he's gonna go through a transformation. Something's gonna change. Maybe he's gonna get a girlfriend. Who knows what it may be, a contract, and he feels like he's got to be more professional looking. I just feel it. I feel like he's gonna get a haircut.
He has very thin hair, so I would more guess before he cuts that hair and loses his power, because his power is in his hair.
Right.
He's gonna go man bun and just put
Like
that
Kittle?
in the helmet. Yeah, he's just gonna go man bun. He can really tighten that sucker up. I'm sure he's gonna save that, because one of his nicknames in college was Thor.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm on record. Maybe it'll be 2 seasons, but I really feel like, especially if he's successful this year, I think he's going to come out and sport a new hairdo.
I don't think he's going to cut that hair. Samson.
I don't know why you brought that up on the podcast, though.
Samson cut his hair, and then he lost all his power.
Yeah. Yep. It's in the Bible, so it's
so it's true.
It's out there.
It's out there. That's for sure. Okay. So now that we have religion in here, can we talk about some politics? Let's just make everybody happy. I think, Biden and Trump have been the 2 best presidents we've ever had in our entire existence. No, let's skip past this. All right. So Steele, there was one part in the first quarter where Steele obviously had the first down.
Yes.
And we did not challenge it, and then
the refs botched the placement.
Yeah, and then we went for third, was it? And then didn't get it.
No, it was fourth.
Wait.
Yeah, it was fourth.
But
we went for fourth and didn't get it because of another bad placement. They placed it and called it a first down, and then Raheem Morris challenged it, and the refs overturned it. So it was 2 bad placements in a row.
But we only went for, according to the stats, we only went for 1 4th down, and we converted. And that was
it could have been a third down.
I'm pretty sure it was a third down.
Sure it was a
and then we had to kick a field goal, and I got some fantasy points for
good for you.
For butt kicker. But Yeah, I swore. Yeah, fourth down efficiency 1 for 1 for us.
Okay.
1 for 3 for the Falcons. We were also 6 for 14 on third downs. Falcons were 2 for 9.
Did you get those stats online?
Yeah.
Everything online is true.
I mean, it's from NFL.com stat sheet.
Yeah.
So, but
I'm
yeah,
sure it's right.
I'm pretty sure it was a third down. I guess maybe you don't challenge a second down play. They thought that they could get it, and they don't challenge that. But it was so obvious that it was a first down. It was weird to me that we didn't just go ahead and throw that challenge flag. But, we'll talk. We'll save it still. 'Cause we'll talk about it. But with the officiating crew the way they were,
I'm not 100% convinced that if they challenged it, they were going to win it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, to me, it was clear and obvious, but I've been wrong before. And I mean, I kind of get a feeling of how right I feel, right? And I felt like probably 85 to 90%. And in my experience, 85 to 90% does not always equal right. And, like some of them are like, oh, yeah, that's obvious. Just challenge it. You're good. 100%.
See, I felt 110%. And usually when I feel 110%, I end up being right. I'm just saying. It's stats are stats,
you do
man.
Tend to think that you're right most of the time.
Stats are stats.
Yeah.
Stats are stats, man.
Where'd you find those stats? Online too?
The beautiful thing is it's beautiful. I've loved it ever since starting podcasting because there's always the proof. Yeah, there's always the proof. And I'm often right, even though I am the master of bad takes. My bad takes are often right.
Yeah. So another thing that happened in the first quarter on defense was that first score for the Falcons, where we had that miscommunication and both of our defensive back. Well, it was actually Drew Tranquil and then a defensive back, and they both went with the one receiver. I think it was actually the running back that they both covered and left the wide receiver wide open for that easy touchdown.
Oh, yeah.
That miscommunication, that's going to be something that they're going to work on. That's not going to happen a lot.
Yeah, that was ugly. super blown coverage.
Yep. Yeah, and it wasn't anything that they did to fool us. They just, they showed it. The guys were communicating. They were saying, all right, well, if they cross, this is what we're going to do. And I think whoever was receiving the message misunderstood what the message was coming across, just misunderstood the signals.
Yeah.
So they'll get that cleared up.
Yeah, it was, I don't know if it's Tranquil or the corner, but
I don't know whose fault it was.
I'm trying to think of who the corner was, but the corner definitely
motioned.
Yeah, it made some sort of communication. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they normally communicate, but he definitely made some sort of communication to Tranquil, and Tranquil just kept on his guy.
Yep.
So I don't know.
They were supposed to switch.
I think they were, but
that's what the defensive back was telling him, is we need to switch.
Yeah, but maybe Tranquil was like, no, I'm on my guy. I don't know who's in charge in those situations, or if Tranquil thought it was going to be a run. It was like, no, I'm not doing this.
Maybe my assumption is just because the defensive back was making that call that he had the authority to make that call. That's just, I kind of assume that. I don't know.
Yeah, usually the mic backer, which most likely would be Bolton, but Tranquil did take on that slot when Bolton was hurt last year. So it might have been a little bit of like, no, you do what I say type of deal.
Maybe.
And Tranquil might have been right. I mean, Tranquil would have probably been better on the inside covering, and the corner probably would have been better going out, and it might have been that Tranquil was in the right there, but
I think the reason
just didn't see it.
I think the reason they make that call though is because that's an obvious setup for. I say obvious, sorry. That's a clear setup for a pick play, and they're trying to avoid getting picked. And so if they, if the inside guy stays with the guy that goes inside, not necessarily the guy that started on the inside, but goes with the guy that ends up on the inside, then that avoids that pick play opportunity. That's
Maybe.
just my guess.
And when you're saying pick, you're talking about a pick, not a interception.
Right. A pick where the offender kind of accidentally gets in the way of the defender long enough just to catch him off. And that's in the NFL, it's that much. I mean, it only takes inches, right? So all you have to do is knock the guy off his balance and he's beat. And it's a very common thing nowadays. Pretty sure it started with Belichick.
Yep. If I had to guess, Tranquil's probably the one that makes those calls, and I think it was a rookie DB, and I wonder if there was just some sort of, dude, you're not the boss. I don't know. It's total speculation there on that, but it was definitely weird. But hey, you know what? I mean, they're gonna go through
Growing
struggles
pains.
like that, growing pains. And if that is the case, then Andy Reid will take it upon himself, or the DB coaches or whoever will take it upon themselves to be like, bro, you don't make those calls. Those calls are for Bolton and Tranquil.
Yeah, it will get ironed out. Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm curious. I'd love to act to like know.
Yeah, I'd love to be a fly on the wall.
Yep.
That conversation is happening. Not necessarily to see the guy get, told, or put in his place, but just to kind of hear, how they talk to him in a situation like that, because ego is a fragile thing at times, right? So if you tell a guy, hey, look, you're still a pissant in this anthill, right? So at this point, you're not making those calls. You do that to a young guy and you're going to kill his confidence, or you could potentially kill his confidence or his cohesiveness with his teammates,
or he's going to be
morale.
Pissy with you because he's got ODD, oppositional defiance disorder.
Right.
I mean, it could be all kinds of things,
especially on this team. That is the opposite of what we want. That's the opposite of what we see for the most part, right? So I think the way they approach it would be interesting, and that's the part I'd like to listen in on, just kind of how they approach that.
Yep. We saw something really weird. Today we saw somebody actually kick the ball out of bounds, a fumble. They kicked it out of bounds. The Falcons, kicked it out of bounds, and it's the first time I've seen this in a while.
I can't think of the last time I've seen it. It may be the first time.
And I was freaking out while we were watching because I was yelling, "Loss of down, loss of down, loss of down," and I kind of thought about it, and I was pissed off that it's only a 10-yard penalty. It should be a loss of down and like a 30-yard. It should be like the same as pass interference. I mean, if this is not soccer.
Well, your first comment was pretty drastic. It was, well, why don't the Chiefs get the ball? And,
yeah. Well, I mean, that's in a perfect world.
Well, and I thought about it, and my first thought was that's absurd. But the more that I've kind of stewed over it, I mean, the reason he kicked it out of bounds is because he knew that there was very little chance that they were going to get it. The Chiefs were going to get it. And so he kicked it out to save the ball from being turned over. And I believe that if you kick it out of bounds, you're losing the ball now. You did that to not lose the ball. And so that's the penalty.
And see,
and I think that would be perfectly fair.
And I've thought about it, my drastic, angry remark. I've thought about it. Maybe it just should be loss of down and a 30-yard penalty. Really make it so nobody does it.
They'll never do a 30-yard penalty.
Yeah.
They'll never get more than 15 yards.
Well, I mean, there's 20-yard penalties.
Yeah. Well, only on a pass interference where they place the ball at the spot of the foul.
Oh, is there?
I don't think there's any 20-yard penalties, though. I've never seen one.
Is face mask still a 15-yard penalty? I don't even think it is.
I think it's a 10-yard penalty now.
Yeah, it's a 15-yard. There's no penalty taking you backwards more than 10 yards. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it just should never happen. This is not football, and there should have been a stiffer penalty. I don't know if it's double loss of downs or there just should be a stiffer penalty. And it doesn't happen very often, but you said during the game it was a smart play by him, and hell,
It absolutely
it was
was.
a smart
Yeah.
play. I mean, and that's not okay. It's not okay that the penalty. It's not okay ever that the penalty is better to take than doing the right thing, because then that means that our penalties are not stiff enough to stop you from doing the penalty. And this is a obvious penalty where they kick the ball.
Yeah.
This isn't a pass interference. This isn't a getting there just a smidge before they were supposed to. This is a blatant cheat move. It's a Bill Belichick Patriots special type of deal.
I mean, it's big braining the penalties in your favor is what it is. And that's why they make rules like that, the Bill Belichick rules, the JJ rules we've talked about.
Yep.
Another penalty thing, since we're on penalties, and I kind of brought this up during the game with you, is no? You want to hold off on that?
I want to hold off on the penalties.
No. Just, it was that one topic that the penalties and how when there's offsetting penalties, I don't like that. I've never liked it. It's absolutely an advantage for the offense because it's just a do-over is all it is. And I think the offense always is going to have an advantage over the defense just by nature. You know where the ball is going, right? So that's an advantage for the offense. Usually when I don't like a rule, I like to try and come up with a way to make that rule better or a better rule to replace that rule.
That's a whole
And I can't
You should do that in everything in life.
Oh, sure,
if
yeah.
You bitch about something,
you should have
give
some kind of
sort of positive suggestion of
100%.
making it better. Yeah,
But I have no, I can't for the life of me think of a way to make that better. I can't. Your wife had kind of mentioned that, sometimes it'll be a ticky-tack flag for one team and then like a pass interference, 40 yards downfield for the other team, but they end up offsetting. Maybe they should split the yards. I don't think that's unfair.
Yeah, the offsetting penalties is just. Yeah.
But then you've got the argument that, the first 5-yard hold that started, on the play may have caused the 40-yard penalty down. Maybe that wouldn't have happened. The butterfly effect. You don't know exactly what would have happened had the first penalty. So I don't know. I just don't like the way that rule works out for the offense. And in this game, when I brought that up, it was helping the Chiefs. I mean, it was in our favor. So I just wish they could come up with something else like that.
Yeah.
I do.
I do have to call our mid-show timeout. And we're back. And we're ready to talk about the elephant in the room.
There's always an elephant in the room with you, man.
Yeah. It's just kind of a thing.
But it's a valid point. I mean, both your elephant in the rooms are definitely in the room.
Yeah, and it's bad. Wow. The officiating in this game was on not point.
I'll tell you what, I am so over this narrative that the refs are on the Chiefs' side. If you're still saying that after this week, your opinions hold zero water in my book at that point. At that point, you're just a Chiefs hater, and that's the end of the story because the refs are not on the Chiefs' side. If you watch that game, they were clearly helping the Falcons in that last drive. So I just don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm going to get a text tomorrow as soon as this show is put out. Somebody's going to call me or text me talking about the refs.
It's absurd to me because I'll go even farther. Anybody who has ever thought that prior is an idiot. There's no other way to say it. If you've been paying attention, you are literally you're drinking your own copium. If
you're watching a single game, there could have been a single game where there was a bad call for the Chiefs side, that the refs made that helped the Chiefs win. Yes, that's absolutely happened.
And that's absolutely happened
for every single team.
Yep.
Every single team. So if you saw 1 or 2 games that the Chiefs played in and that happened, all right, cool. then your opinion doesn't matter because you're not watching enough for it to matter. But if you've watched the Chiefs games, then you can't say that with a straight face. You can't. It's just not the truth.
Well, let's start out by the Jones roughing the passer. And the Falcons'
ludicrous
second TD was basically given to them by the refs. Now, there was an awesome throw, down the field. This didn't actually affect anything. They actually declined it because their tight end made a great catch. So it didn't actually affect the game. But the roughing the passer on Jones on that play, that long tight end pass play, was absurd. He did not throw him to the ground. They fell to the ground together. It was crazy that they called roughing the passer.
Yeah, he didn't do anything excessive. He didn't have his hands in his face. I mean, it was a blatant miscall.
Yeah, and then there was defensive holding. Oh, sorry. The Jones roughing the passer is what set up that long tight end play.
Yeah.
Then during that long tight end play, there was a defensive holding call that was the one that was
got declined.
Yeah, and that one was hilarious because Collinsworth goes, huh? I mean, Collinsworth said, huh, on a lot of the calls against the Chiefs tonight, but that one was absurd. I believe it was McDuffie, and he did not hold him at all.
No.
There was no holding whatsoever. The Falcons guy was a real good actor. And can we stop this acting bullshit, guys, please? Like, this is not soccer. Let's not make it soccer, please. We don't need people falling down like they just got tackled unbelievably and then popping right up afterwards. It is lame. Let's not do it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an instance that maybe one of the Chiefs have done it, but Mahomes doesn't even do that, really. He doesn't take the flop just to make it look worse.
No, because it's a wimpy move. It's a complete wimpy move. And I understand it's the smart move.
Yeah, you want to play to the refs. Especially if they're not watching exactly what's happening, but they see that and they react to that. That's the only part of it they see. So the brain fills in the rest, tells them exactly what happened, and then they throw the flag. It's absolutely a smart move, but oh man, everything that we've talked about with the refs so far, it goes back to a prior conversation that we had in the preseason where we were talking about how bad the refs were and how it looked like they really needed to spend some time together and figure some things out. And I said it then, I think they need another ref, one in the booth maybe, that can just kind of oversee. And I know they got a guy in New York that sits in front of some computer monitors, but I don't know if they don't go to him on every play or if it's only for replays. I don't really know the intricacies of how that all works, but I don't think another ref is a ridiculous notion.
Yeah, and some of the things just need to be overturned upstairs when they can see video because, let's talk about the final freaking drive. Hands to the face, unbelievable bad call.
His hand never touched the guy's helmet.
Yeah. Then there was two was it two bad? Oh no, there was another pass interference call. That was another one where Collinsworth was like, huh? And it wasn't
one
pass
on
interference.
McDuffie.
Yeah.
It was that one on McDuffie where McDuffie was standing there waiting to make a reaction based on what the receiver did, and the receiver ran into him, and they called it on McDuffie. And
it wasn't a pick, wasn't anything.
It was absolutely ridiculous.
It was crazy. And then
they can't just pick up the flag?
And then I even let them have they called a horse collar tackle And I even let them have it because for a split second,
He did. Yep.
For anybody who doesn't know what a horse collar tackle is, because I think there's a lot of people not educated on what it actually is. It is not when you grab their jersey from the back and pull them down. It is when you reach inside the top of the shoulder pads, which are underneath the jersey, when you reach in there and yank somebody down. It is not the shirt. So for a split second, he had hold of the shoulder pad, and then the split second was done, and then he was holding jersey.
Let it go, and then went to jersey.
Time. And so I even gave that to them, even though that shouldn't have probably been called either. So, but I even give it to you that there was a smidgen of a possible penalty there. So I didn't even write that down, but it's unbelievable. We got 0 first downs from penalties. The Falcons got 4 first downs from penalties. There is no narrative that the refs help the Chiefs. So if you're going to say that, just know that you're dumb.
I think the fact that they're dumb prevents them from knowing that they're dumb.
Maybe
it's a conundrum.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, that is true. That is unfortunate that people can't, because I can see when I'm dumb.
Can you?
It sucks. Yeah, it sucks. But maybe
like
it's better to be dumb.
The warning versus the watch from way back in the day.
That isn't dumb. That's being improperly educated by a grade school teacher and then thinking that that's fact. We live in the age of the internet now, where I can look things up and instead of having to trust what I learned from bad teachers in life. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we can talk about that. Because I bet you, leave it in the comments. I bet you everybody has different ones. So this was an age-old thing where I told them that a tornado warning means you need to watch out for a tornado.
You need to watch for a warning.
There's a possibility. It's a warning of a tornado, but a tornado watch is where a tornado has been sighted and has been on the ground, so you best watch out for that.
Right. And Mel and I were like, no, man, that's the exact opposite. And you were like, no, look it up.
Yep.
And we did.
And I was wrong. Yeah. But this was this was at the dawn of this was 20 years ago.
Yeah. You and Mel had just maybe been dating for a few months at that point.
This was so, but that's just miseducation. That's ignorance when thought of as education. I mean, it's bad. And luckily we live in a world now where we could just get information at the tip of our fingertips. So
we can also get misinformation at the tip of our fingertips too. So you've got to be careful where you're looking,
very true,
and maybe do your own research a little bit.
Yep. But
just a little bit though.
So we didn't get hardly anything from penalties, and they got a ton from penalties. So the conversation's over, guys. It's over.
Yeah, we don't need the refs to win. We're winning these games against the refs. Sorry. I guess I'm not going to complain about the refs in the first 2 games. There were a lot of calls on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it was
the first 2 games, but this game specifically was
bad.
Heavily weighed in the favor of the Falcons. And I can't even imagine a Falcons play, because when I watch a game, and if the Chiefs are making a lot of penalties and they're all legitimate and they're having a bad game, I'm the first one to say, man, well, they just look like crap out there, man. Like that's the Chiefs playing bad and they're making stupid penalties, man. That's like, we're not going to win a lot of games when we're playing like that, but it's our fault. I'm not going to blame that on the refs. Well, so I'm always very fair with my opinions of how the refs are doing things.
And I believe that I am too. And
yeah, you are.
It's interesting because I wonder if the majority of fans watch a penalty or watch the first play and they instantly just go with that is what happened. And then they get up, walk around, bitch, moan, stop watching the TV and don't watch the replay. Because I freaked out early on in the game when Mahomes got pushed out of bounds. And I was like, bullshit. And then Jason Buck,
you went to the bathroom
over here, was like, well, no, I did go to the bathroom. I waited to see the replay, but Jason saw the replay and was like, oh, well, he was like still way in bounds. And I saw the replay and I just had to say, okay, I was wrong there. You don't see everything in the instant, and that's why I kind of give the refs a little bit of a pass, because that looked like excessive, pushing out of bounds. But then when I watched it back, I had to say, okay, no, Mahomes could have still pushed for more yards. He was a yard outside of out of bounds. The push was legit, and then there was a little bit of acting from Mahomes falling down, right? So yeah, so maybe I definitely once I see something, I will say, okay, yeah, that wasn't a penalty. But in the moment, I thought it was, and I wonder if a lot of people let that emotion take over and then don't actually watch it again.
Yeah,
they don't take it in and say, okay, I was wrong.
Well, and I think here's another thing that I didn't have in my notes, and I don't think you did either, but you definitely mentioned it a few times in the middle of the game. When something would happen, you're like, where's the replay? Where's the replay? Why can't we watch the replay? And then sometimes they would go to commercial before they showed the replay. I think the production team was really kind of sitting on their hands a little bit tonight and had a few mishaps, because they've been doing it for 20 years. They've had the ability to show those replays immediately within 3 seconds of the play being over. And that happened multiple times tonight. And so I think the production crew has a little bit of work to do to make a better viewing experience for us.
If there's a penalty, you best show that shit immediately. Sorry for my French, but you better show that stuff immediately. I need to see the replay immediately, because I need to either stay pissed because it was a bad call, or be able to just go, okay,
internalize it and take it because it was a legit call.
We should have done that. Come on, dude. You need to be better than that.
But
that's
one thing
what I want.
The production team did do better, though, is they never covered up the down and distance with advertisements. So golf clap to them.
Yeah. I think it's Fox that does that.
I'm not sure
that.
who it is.
I think it's Fox.
You think they still do it during the regular season?
Fox U. Okay. Fox U.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so to something a little more I don't know, positive,
upbeat.
Who was your offensive player of the game?
Rashee Rice.
It's hard not to go. Okay,
I know. I mean, I didn't even feel.
It's definitely Rashee Rice.
Mahomes has to get it to Rice, right? So, I mean, how couldn't it be Mahomes?
It's not Mahomes.
It just wasn't. Rashee Rice carried this team on his shoulders.
Rashee Rice was on point the entire game. Mahomes was on point in the second half. So,
well, he was on point when he was throwing to Rashee Rice.
Yeah, well, I can't go with Rashee Rice because I want us to have different ones. So I'll go with.
I think I know who you're going to
go with. I don't want to, damn it, because it's so cliche. But
but you're gonna.
It's true though. I'm going to go with Carson Steele.
I knew it.
My man of steel, Thor himself. 17 attempts, 72 yards, 4.2 average.
So you don't want to do it because it's cliche. Well, then name me somebody else. He was better than Mahomes. He was.
Both those two, I think, are the two offensive players of the game. I don't think anybody else fits in.
Deserves it, yeah.
I mean,
100%
maybe Harrison butt kicker.
No, he missed an extra point.
He did, but I mean, he made a 53-yard field goal. He made a 44-yard field goal.
Point.
I know, but
I love how Andy Reid in the press conference afterwards was like, even Harrison Butker was 3 for 3 for field goals. I'm like, but he missed the extra point.
that is rough. But yeah, I think you have to go with Steele. You have to go with Rice. Although Mahomes did, he did rush for 6 times for 17 yards. Although
Mahomes wasn't bad. It's not like he was bad. He just wasn't.
But you have to look at that stat. 3 of his rushes were kneeling the ball at the end of the game and losing yards. The reason that I know this is because he's on my fantasy team. Yes. And
you were bitching about it
the
whole time. You're like,
he was losing me points.
He's going to kneel it. Don't kneel it.
Losing me points. I was just saying, you don't need to run all over the place and kneel. And he almost got himself hurt doing it too.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
he absolutely did.
I don't think it was worth possibly injuring himself. Stay behind your line.
The play after that, he still did it.
He did it 3 plays in a row.
I really thought after the second one he was just going to kneel it right away, but then it would have worked out where they would have had to punt it. So he had to do that.
I'm okay with him dropping back in the pocket and then kneeling it as soon as he has to. I just don't want him running outside of the pocket and then trying to kneel it. That's when he almost got hurt. So, and he was still shaking his knee. So hope to God he didn't actually tweak something. So, all right.
What about defense?
Yeah,
you go first.
You want me to go first?
Well, I went first on offense and I took the guy. So you get to go first.
Well,
I got a backup just in case you take my guy.
I'm not going to take your guy because it's obviously Bolton. So you're going to take Bolton, but I'm going to take Chamari Connor. This guy is an upcoming star. I mean, he had some highlights last year. He had some great highlights last game, and this game he got our interception. He was also, I believe, he was second on our team in tackles too. Hold on, let me see.
Not only did he get that interception,
second. No. B. Cook had 6. Bolton had 7. He had 5, but he also had 5 assists. So he had 10 total combined assists and tackles. I mean, this guy was all over the field, had the interception.
But what he did with that interception is what really separates him from a lot of the other players in this league. Not only did he get the interception, but he almost immediately got tackled. He turns around and had the presence of mind to hand it to his guy to gain another, 10, 15 yards?
Yeah.
That's brilliant. That's the kind of stuff Kelsey tries and always gets called back by a penalty.
Yep. Although, did you see the end of the Niners game today? Sorry to tangent, but they were trying to get the win, and they had a little what do you call it at the end of the game where they just keep,
onside kick?
No, they keep laddering.
Oh yeah. That was exciting.
It was like 15 laterals to different people,
and the dude that carried it the most was like a big old lineman guy, and he was like, "Well, if you're gonna give me the field," he still got rid of it though. He wasn't the guy that lost it, but
sorry,
that would have been exciting. Yeah.
Sorry to tangent, but that was amazing that he saw him there and he was like, "Here, go." Yeah, and it's just it's so cool. I mean, Chamari Connor seems to be an upcoming star, and the beauty of him is he's a tweener DB. He can play safety, and he can play corner, and he can play nickelback. I mean, he's just all over the field, and it's really cool. So
what really excites me is like his presence of mind, right? His football IQ. So he's always thinking, and it's always what is the next. He's not thinking about what he should do now. He's already knows what he should be doing now. He's thinking about what has to happen next, and that just seems to be a natural thing for him, right? It just happened all in the moment. It was a split second. It was amazing. It was super fun to watch.
Yep.
So I can't agree more with you. I mean, he had an amazing game, but Bolton was so solid. He made the play of the game to end to stop him on 4th behind the line. It was a beautiful tackle, ankle tackle, shoestring tackle, whatever you want to call it. But he wrapped up his legs and the dude went down. So
Bolton's been amazing.
Bolton has been solid,
his
solid.
Entire career. For the first half of his rookie season, I didn't know his name. I just knew 52 because his hair covers his name. And I was always like, what's his name again? 52? And she'd be like, Bolton. I'd be like, okay, thank you. But I always would forget it because his hair was always covering it. But man, he is just he is a killer. He is a ball hog. And we did have a little bit of a scare with him. I'm hoping he's okay.
I think it was just a wind knocked out of him situation. That seemed to happen a couple of times tonight.
Yeah, I'm hoping, just rub some, like Johnny
rub some dirt on it.
used to say, just rub some dirt on it. Just rub some dirt on it.
My dad used to say that too. Yep. All right. So what do you think, man? You got everything covered?
I don't.
No. All right. We got more.
I don't.
All right.
So something I thought was interesting about this week, and I know Pacheco's not out, but I feel like Pacheco being out shouldn't have changed the game plan as much as it did. We went from Patrick Mahomes barely throwing the ball last week and just running to this week, 39 attempts. It was like a flipped game plan completely.
I don't think that was a symptom of Pacheco being gone. I think that was a symptom of the defense showing us different stuff. So Mahomes was able to unload more today than he would have last week. I mean, Mahomes is a quarterback. He's a thrower first always, right? So I think last week, if he would have had more opportunities, it would have happened a lot more. But there was no drawback from having Steele in there tonight as opposed to having Pacheco. If Pacheco was in there, I fully expect he would have got 4.2 yards per carry, and he probably would have had 10 to 15 carries. I don't think it changed because of Pacheco.
I'm trying to think of what Pacheco had last week. Maybe we were just on the field on offense a lot more this week, and it gave, because last week was Mahomes like one of his lowest yardage and attempt games ever. So I think he attempted it half of the attempts from this week. I could be wrong on that, but
I feel like their attempt last week was to run the ball until they could get the Bengals to change their defense. And the Bengals were just like, nah, nope, we're going to take away your strength. We're going to take Mahomes out of this game.
Well, I think the two high safeties is something that just every team's doing now to every quarterback, and it messes up other quarterbacks even more than it does Mahomes. I mean, Pat McAfee is calling for two high safeties to be illegal, and it kind of made me think I'd actually kind of like them to change the rules on. Now, if you want to have two high safeties, that's okay. But I don't think, I think there should be a rule that you can't line up any defender 20 yards back from anything further than 20 yards back from the line of scrimmage. That would prevent defenses, which are lame. That would stop a lot of things. And then if they wanted to drop the safeties back, the safeties would have to run. After
the play started.
They would have to get back there. That's something we should really think about and watch in the future. And, I got to say, like Pat McAfee, he calls it out. There'll be people that are defensive lovers that say, oh, well, now that the defense is too good, you don't want to do it. But, I mean, offense is what is the bread and butter of this league. It's
I don't want to watch a game that's 6-3, no matter who the teams are.
Yep,
and I've always felt that way.
Offense pays the bills.
Absolutely.
Defense wins championships was the motto. You know how boring those Super Bowls were?
Yeah, 9-6.
Boring.
It was just I mean, don't get me wrong. It was kind of fun to watch Ray Lewis and Ed Reed fly around that field. It really was. They were amazing, but it's still, man, when the over-under for the game is 20, no thanks.
Yeah. So, I know the defense, you guys just keep getting hit on like what you can and can't do, but you guys just keep getting better at what you do. And we have to make it so the game's fun or nobody wants to watch it. The Patriots Super Bowls were some of the least watched ones, the different years that they were defense heavy. When Tom Brady was airing it out with Randy Moss, everybody was watching those, So I think it might be something to look at, but
I did have a thought before you go on to the next thing. I think another factor tonight why Mahomes was more successful than last week is the left tackle situation.
Mm-hmm.
Wanye Morris started this game, and I didn't hear his name maybe once, maybe twice. I don't even think twice, maybe once. He did a tremendous job. He really did. So Mahomes had a lot more time to get comfortable back there and find his receivers. So kudos to him. I think that in week 4, we're probably going to see Wanye again, is my guess.
Well, and I think it was end of the second quarter. I think their main pass rusher got hurt, and I hope he's okay. Also, another thing we have to point out:
2 of their linemen went out. Yeah.
Well, no, that was their pass rusher that went out.
Right.
2 of their offensive linemen went out too, especially center.
Yeah. Now on the same drive.
And their center, their starting center, they had miscommunications, I believe, twice. But then they had more miscommunications with the new center, and that definitely was a factor. And I just wish, I wish we could just, encase these guys in,
bubble
steel
wrap,
and adamantium, because it always sucks to see somebody get hurt. We've talked about before. There's, I could count on one hand and probably not even fill the whole hand with people that I would be okay with seeing hurt. I don't want them to get hurt because that's just gross.
Well, that kind of brings up another topic, something that we talked about in the preseason, and I was fully for and you were 100% against, but we're starting to see it. I was watching a couple of games. There was a guy on the Patriots, I think, a guy on the Colts that are wearing that extra padding that they all wore in the training camp. Yeah.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you at all. It's happening, brother. People are starting to catch on to that.
Oh, my God.
It's happening in game, buddy.
Oh, wow.
On the field.
Doop, doop, doop.
Who cares? They already got big heads because of the helmets. What's another half an inch?
No, the helmets look good, man. The helmets, especially when they got the matte finish.
The Falcons matte black.
I want the Chiefs to get matte red, dude, so bad. Oh my God, the shiny looks so 1970s. I want that sleek matte finish,
like the Vikings. So that bad.
Purple. Come on, Andy, give it to us. Give it to us, Andy.
Slick looking.
And actually, Clark, come on.
You can do it.
You're young.
You've got strings. Come on. You can pull some strings, Clark.
Come on, Clark. Come on. Give us that matte finishes. Ooh, they look good, dude.
Yeah, they do.
Vikings, Falcons, Ravens. I mean, all of these guys are using the matte, and it looks so good. Sweet. Oh, it looks so good.
Yep.
So give us that. But I only have one last thing. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Nope.
All right, so my last thing I wanted to talk about is, I loved our pressure in the fourth quarter, man. Holy crap. Our defensive line pressure in the fourth quarter and our blitz packages, and it felt good. I felt good.
Well, I felt good, but we just talked about they lost 2 of their offensive linemen earlier in the game, so it's not like we were going against the all-pro team. So
you just had to.
I'm just.
You just had to. You just had to
being
pee
honest.
in my cornflakes.
Look, they didn't look bad at any point.
Ugh.
So it's not like I'm taking away their ability, but Chris Jones is getting double teamed all night, and that's going to happen all year, and he's still going to get his sack every game.
Do we know when 90's coming back?
No, I tried to look it up during the game, and you got pissed at me for being on my phone.
Hey, I was trying to help you. We both have ADHD, so we have to try to keep each other on point. So we're watching, so we can talk about the game afterwards. But
Bob did it so many times. He's like, "Dude, you could tell me to stop if you want." I'm like, "No, you're good. You're good."
Yeah, we're just trying to help each other because, every time I do it and I lose focus, I'm always upset afterwards. So I appreciate somebody pointing out the game's on. It helps out a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
Because, we're podcasters. We like to talk. So
it is. But I'm also very good at like I keep my phone right under the screen so that like as soon as the action starts, I can pay attention to the screen and then go right back to looking at what I need from Amazon this week. So
is that the same thing you do when you text when you drive?
No, I don't text and drive.
I don't either.
I used to, and I can, but I don't because I have little kids. So I don't, It's not fair to them.
When I was younger and I used to hold my phone up in front, just like you're talking about.
Yep.
I used to hold it up in front. Now I just don't do that. I do talk to text.
I don't even do that.
And I say,
I just pull over.
I'm sorry, I'm doing talk to text. So if this sounds weird, it probably is weird. Period. Now, blah, 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 period. Blah, 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 period. And then it comes out like, hey, your mom was smoking, herb outside the house the other day. And it's just, I was trying to tell them I was on their way to the house. It's horrible.
Yeah. Yep. That's why I just wait.
But no, I felt that we still had gas in the fourth quarter. And that's basically
our conditioning definitely looked a lot better, especially from last week. The first two games, it looked very, we looked very, very worn out in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And then the jump to how we looked in the fourth quarter today was very reassuring. I expected that kind of progression to take 2 or 3, maybe even 4 weeks. And it came. So yeah, whoever's doing their strength and conditioning, golf clap to you as well.
Yeah, and we have to give it to the Falcons. They played a hard game, man.
They did.
I think
Kirk Cousins played up.
We complained about the refs at the end, but I mean, they played a good game.
Yeah,
we have to give it to them.
I mean, they had to go out and perform for the refs to be able to throw flags,
and they definitely were in a place to win that. And the defense once again came through,
so at least it wasn't a last play game, but it was definitely down to the wire.
Yeah, it was all last.
It was the last drive game. Yeah,
yeah, and we thought it was going to be their last drive again, and we couldn't. We went 3 and out. We couldn't even capitalize. So you got to give it to them. You got to give
Bolton
it to him
on that fourth down, man. Good Lord.
I mean, yeah, it's
God. You know who he reminds me of is Dejo.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Derek Johnson.
Derek Johnson, man. He's Derek Johnson-esque. He is.
I think he's better than Derek Johnson.
He might be.
I think he definitely is.
Yeah, I think it's too early to say that he's better because Derek Johnson did it for so long, and he was great for so long. So I think if Bolton performs the way that he does and keeps progressing, I think he surpasses Derek Johnson. But
shoot, I'd be interested to see the stats. I wonder if he already has. But that's a topic for another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it, unless you have something else.
I don't.
All right. Well, don't forget to follow us on all the socials. If you want to find all of our stuff, it's linktr.ee/BUKNBOB. That'll get you to all of our stuff. But if you just search BUKNBOB on YouTube, Spotify, everything, and we're now on TikTok too. I boomered it out and made some shorts on TikTok, and when
shared
I say
a few on our Facebook account too, so starting to get that out there a little bit.
When I say some, I made about
35.
Was it 35?
Yeah, it was 35.
Wow,
yeah.
Wow. Okay, well.
Yep.
I made a couple, so hopefully that'll help get the word out about the podcast. But
make sure to type that in right if you're looking us up on TikTok, because there's a few other profiles that are very, very similar. Like if you switch the N and the K, there's another guy. It's nothing gross or nasty or anything. It's just make sure that you're typing out Buk and Bob, because there's a Bunk Bob, and
interesting.
A couple other weirdo
names out there. BUKNBOB.
That's us.
And then, Buck, where can we find you?
As always, I'm on Facebook, and you can find me on Twitter. It's at Buk_Tastic, BUK_TASTIK.
And you can find me on Twitter at Blazin_Bob. That's BLAZZIN_BOB. And with that being said, good night.
Wait, one more thing.
Oh,
one more thing. So we've the last couple of weeks we've done our pre-games on Tuesday nights, but we have decided we've made an executive decision for now. We're going to do them on Thursdays and probably get them out on Friday mornings, hopefully. Except if we have a Thursday game, and then we'll do it on a Tuesday night, and we'll just be kind of tired on Wednesday. But so yeah, be looking for that coming next Friday.
Oh, and you just made me remember. Should we give them the answer to our trivia question?
The trivia question, yeah. So who had the most sacks in a single game, and how many sacks was it?
It was Derek Thomas in 1990 with 7 sacks.
It was. That was a fun game, man. I watched that game live, yeah.
I didn't watch it live, but I've seen the highlights. I unfortunately wasn't a Chiefs fan by then.
I was in high school, yeah. I was my son's age. I was 15 years old. Yeah,
I was still a Cowboys fan at that point. Still born and raised in Kansas City, but I did not like Marty Schottenheimer, so I didn't like the run game ball. I was not a fan.
It was a rough go of it.
Yeah, I was a Cowboys fan because I was forced to growing up, and then I became a Joe Montana fan, and then Joe Montana came to the Chiefs, and I've been a Chiefs fan ever since.
Well, we're glad to have you, buddy.
Well, we will say good night, Kansas City.
Go Chiefs.
Chiefs.
I want to pay with you everywhere.
I want to pay with you everywhere.
I want to pay with you everywhere.